Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gianluca Bruno, and with this presentation, I present my research, starting with the short introduction on the topic, and continue with the two case study, and finish it with the future development. So I begin with the short presentation of myself. I'm Gianluca Bruno, and I'm 28 years old. I'm graduated with a bachelor degree at Politecnico University of Bari, and then I obtained my master degree in structural engineering with the thesis on structural monitoring of reinforcement concrete masonry building by using only output techniques. In this thesis, I explored the techniques of SHM and the dynamics algorithm analysis. So now I'm a PhD student at Politecnico University of Bari. So the main topic of my research is the model updating. In particular, the aim of my research is to develop the new approaches for solve the problem of model calibration. So as we know, the process of model calibration, model updating is the process to match numerical model and the real structure through the experimental data. In particular, when we talk about the model-based model updating, we use a model, the natural frequencies, model shape, and damping coefficients. It's very important to have a calibrated updated model to creating a model to assess the structural behavior under external action, and to observe the change of the characteristic of the structure, and to assess the properties that we know of the structures. In particular, in literature, we have two categories of method of model updating. The deterministic process based on a trial and error process, and the framework is described in the top of the slide, and the probabilistic process that usually based on the Bayesian model updating to compute the posterior probability function, knowing the prior probability function. In the first step of my research, I focused attention only on the manual process. The aim is to automatization of with the algorithm on the Python programming language and the SAP 2000. In particular, the aim is to increase the accuracy and reduce the time to the process. In particular, with this algorithm, I created the script in Python to increasing the accuracy, to run the analysis in the software SAP 2000, and reduce and obtain the calibrated model, and in general reduce the time taken to the process. In particular, the first thing to do is to set the two parameters, the uncertain parameters, which are related to the uncertain characteristic of the structures, such as the mechanical properties of materials or the degree of constraint, and set of the target variable. Usually, we use the frequencies of the main vibration mode of the structure. After that, I create the model in SAP 2000, and the algorithm run the analysis in model analysis in the software, and compute the gamma function that represents the error between the value of the frequencies obtained by the OMA and the frequencies obtained by the model. In particular, I compare with this algorithm, I compare the value of gamma error with the previous value obtained in the previous cycle until obtain the minimum value of gamma error. And then I compare the minimum gamma value with the value of tolerance value of this error. If either condition is not satisfied, the algorithm run again the analysis and obtain the model calibrating. This algorithm was tested on a real case study in a building in the port of Bari in the south of Italy. This building consists of two bodies connected by a staircase in reinforcement concrete. The body A have only one ground floor, and the body 2 have two ground floors. In particular, the structure is a mixture of masonry wall and reinforced concrete columns. So for this building is subjected to monitoring campaign from 2022 with the two triaxial accelerometers on the ground floor and six biaxial accelerometers on the first floor. In particular, they record the signal of 10 minutes every half hour with the frequencies equal to 200 Hertz. Then I created the geometry, the model in the software SAP 2000 with the real geometry and set the uncertain parameters. In particular, shows the mechanical characteristic of the material, masonry and concrete, by varying the elastic modulus in engineeristic ranges and the degree of constraint between the different parts of the structures. Then I set the target variable to compute the gamma value, the gamma function as the error between the simulated target variable and the real target variable, and compare the value obtained with this algorithm called SAPI with the manual process of model updating. And we can see that the value of parameters and the target variable are very accurate, and the time is less than to time taken for the manual process. Another parameters to assess the accuracy of the algorithm is the modal shape. In particular, on the left we have the modal shape of on the SAP 2000, and on the right we have the modal shape in Artemis Model Pro, and are very similar. So in the second step, I focused the attention to create the algorithm, automated algorithm with the use of a deep reinforcement learning agent to solve the problem and do the problem of model updating. In particular, the aim is to replace the human and the choice maker during the training phase, during the process of model updating, with the agent of deep reinforcement learning. In particular, the main characteristics of deep reinforcement learning are the environment that in this case, in my case, is the numerical software, the action phase that represents the possible action that the agent can perform during the training, and the observation and reward function. In particular, the aim of the agent is to maximize the expected cumulative reward while minimizing the difference between output of SHM and the output of numerical model. So In the general framework of model updating, we insert in this manner the deep reinforcement learning in sequence of the phase of SHM, which are very important to obtain the real target variable. And then the deep reinforcement learning agent run the analysis in the software FEM and change the control parameter, that is the uncertain parameters, and compare the simulated target variable with the real target variable to obtain the last phase, the model calibrate. So for each time step, the agent perform the action on the control parameter. In particular, we can see that the action are a variation of the parameters. Then run the analysis in the software and obtain the value of the observation and the reward, the instant value of the reward, defined by a general reward function. So the episode, and when the error between simulated target variable and the real target variable is lower than a tolerance value set by analyst in general, or when the number of iteration is equal to the maximum value. In particular, if we think a two-dimensional problem, we can describe the problem of deep reinforcement learning like this. In particular, with the green arrow represent the possible action that the agent can perform. The orange line represents the different episodes to achieve the correct solution. That is the red dot. In particular, the E1 line E1 represents the best strategy to achieve the solution of the problem. So after that, I was tested this framework on the three-dimensional dummy structures. In particular, I choose three uncertain parameters: mechanical characteristics of material of the columns in blue and the columns in green by varying the elastic modulus, and degree of rotational constraint in node shoe with the rotational spring in this node. And then I set the target variable. In particular, I choose the frequencies of first three vibration mode. And I was write a reward function to obtain a lower penalization when the agent behaves as desired. For each time step, the agent obtain a negative reward value tending to 0 if the frequencies of the updating model matched to the ones of the real structure. In particular, the main characteristics of this reward function are reported in these parameters. The delta sigma is the difference between the average error between the real target variable and the simulated target variable. C is a constant equal to 1 and is a first penalization of the agent. In particular, to reduce this value, the agent is driven to quickly converge in the solution. And P is another penalization equal to -1 only when the agent updates structural control parameters, which assume value exceeding the observation space. So after that, for the first step, I created a model in software, SAP 2000, to simulate a SHM campaign. I applied two ambient signal of ambient vibration on the structures and obtained the the signal. I processed this signal with the software Artemis Model Pro and with the algorithm of frequency domain decomposition to obtain the first 3 vibration mode. And then I perform the training phase. In particular, I choose to I set 1000 episodes for a maximum value of time step equal to 100, and the tolerance value of the error for the end episode equal to 0.05. In particular, which the 2 graph we can observe the training phase. In the top, we have the trend of the error between real and simulated target variable for each episode. And on the bottom, we have the trend of cumulative reward for each time step. In particular, with the trend of simple moving average, we can observe the stability and the accuracy of the training phase and of the agent. And then for selecting the calibrated model, I perform the validation phase of 100 episodes and perform a statistical study with this result. In particular, with the graph along the diagonal, we can observe the probability distribution of each parameters, uncertain parameters. And with the table, we can observe the value obtained with the statistical study that are very accurate in terms of control parameters and in terms of target variable. And I compare with the previous algorithm that simulate a manual process for model updating. And if we observe the value of metrics with an absolute percentage errors are very low for deep reinforcement learning process, and the time is less than to time taken for the manual updating. So for this deep reinforcement learning, I try to use a different method for model updating. This is a very different to compare it to the traditional one, because the agent of deep reinforcement learning not based on the no data set, but is based only on the agent experience. In particular, the critical aspect is related to the time taken to perform the single time step, which is linked to the analysis time in the software. In particular, is equal to 4 seconds for run the model analysis in the software. And for this reason, now I'm working to replace the numerical model in the framework with the reduced order model to reduce time taken for the training phase and the singular time step. In particular, I use the first algorithm for create the dataset and to create the reduced order model, that in this case it's like to a surrogate model. Also because in this first phase the drone has to perform only the model analysis. In addition, I can use the finite element model to validate the solution obtained with the ROM and to obtain a more accurate final model. So, in conclusion, the deep reinforcement learning agent provide useful to solve the problem of model updating, and I will work on increasing the number of target variables. In particular, I'm working on insert a mode shape in the process with the eigenvector, and I will compare it with the other traditional method to improve the critical aspect, and I test this algorithm in different structural topologies, and so for the future application in continuous, I try to write an algorithm to manage a structure or control the damage. So I know that it's a very short presentation, and it's really different problem. There are many traditional methods that for solve this problem, but it's a test. I don't know if it's the best, but that's all. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, Gianluca, for your presentation. Do we have questions here or online? Can I ask a question? What do you mean by compare with other traditional methods for model updating? What kind of methods do you have in mind?
I think Bayesian or other Kriging method.
Okay.
Also probabilistic, only probabilistic method.
So now, like it's purely deterministic what you're doing, like you're just like estimating the frequencies, then you estimate the difference between the target frequency and the frequency you estimate from the model, and then you update the parameter.
Yeah, now it's completely deterministic because there isn't any probability distribution of prior probability distribution of these parameters. I try one value and check the error between the frequencies.
Why should it be stochastic? Why should it be stochastic? The alternative method has a probabilistic update. Doesn't mean that it will model more, it will model better the problem, right? But the solution is deterministic. If I understand, but I'm not sure about that.
Yes, no, the solution is deterministic.
Yeah, so it's.
But with the deep reinforcement learning, I try to increase the number of parameters. And with the probabilistic method, usually we don't increase a lot of parameters because when increase the parameters, you have to use a sampling method to solve a likelihood or integral in.
Yeah, no, because indeed you also with the deep reinforcement learning, you can have a probabilistic update. I'm just not sure that it is what you want. Because again, maybe the optimal solution is deterministic. So when you want to run a testing time to learn deep reinforcement learning policy, I guess you want a deterministic one. But I'm not sure. Just trying to understand if it makes sense to do the probabilistic version.
No. So I don't know if it's the best solution, but
I don't know, but I guess so, right? The deterministic
Yeah.
update, the optimal update would be deterministic in theory, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Unless you're not sure about the target one.
Yes. All right, now that, this is what I wanted to ask, I don't know if I missed that, what is the configuration of the sensors that you are using in your building?
in the dummy structure or in the real case?
What do you mean? Like in the real case?
In the real case,
Yeah, what is the sensor configuration that you are
Uh,
using?
we installed wait. In red, this one
Yes,
and one are the axial accelerometers on the bottom,
uh-huh,
and on the first floor we have the axial accelerometers.
the green ones?
Yeah,
So what's the difference between the green and the?
yeah, because the red is sorry, I don't know. That's the red is located on the bottom,
Mhm.
while in the green is on the top, on the ground floor.
Ah, okay, and how many modes were you able to extract out of this?
I extract a lot of mode, but there is a local mode.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I guess before doing the updating, you chose.
For
the
updating,
modes
I selected the first three modes.
based on your finite element model.
Yeah.
Because I saw that your modes, the frequencies, they were actually very close to to the real ones,
Yeah,
like the ones of your finite element model, like 7. But can you go to the previous? Yeah, even this one, like 7.12 to
Mhm.
7.017. It's not that there is like that much of a difference, at least for the first two modes. Doing the updating. Okay, so you use the first three modes to do
yes,
updating.
in this case only three, but
Because you were not able to find, like, to recover higher ones, or?
not because the higher mode are very complex and I don't know. It's important to consider it.
Theoretically, it is like to do the model updating,
Mm.
since you also have a very, like, you have a lot of sensors and so on. You would be able maybe to recover higher modes. And of course, if you also include later on the mode shapes, you should be able to get like a better updating.
Mhm.
What is weird to me is that you already have very good frequencies like over there. That is very small the
Mhm.
difference, but yeah, especially for the first two modes.
But I think because in this case, the algorithm run the whole combination of the uncertain parameters. And then,
What do you mean for the OMA?
no, for the in the software sub 2000.
Wait, those are the updated ones, the manual. Okay, I thought they were the initial ones, okay. Then it makes sense. I thought they were the initial ones, I didn't
No.
understand like what are the initial parameters of your model. Okay,
I have some questions,
yes, sir.
and thank you so much for your presentation. It's really good. And the first question is, because you mentioned about deterministic and probabilistic.
Mhm.
So you have, in the very beginning, you have prior for your sum of parameters, you're going to consider uncertainty, right? So eventually, you calculate the posterior for each of them, right? Or no?
In this case, I don't
You don't do that.
compute prior and posterior
Okay.
probability.
So you just get probably mean value or just single value for each of parameters that you consider uncertain. Okay. And another question is, because you also mentioned about when you calculate the error, you use the gamma one.
Yeah.
So that is the, like, model
What?
page. Yes, also that is the arrow for the frequency.
Yeah, it's only a
Okay, got it. Okay,
simply a for the friends.
okay, it's no problem. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I also have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Can you go to the finger with a matrix? It has a distribution. So I'm not sure about how to consider about the uncertainties. Do you mention you don't use a Beijing, right? Do you use a Monte Carlo to get the?
No, sorry, I don't understand. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, can you go to the slides very a matrix?
Yeah, okay. These one,
Next one. Next, yeah, this one.
okay,
So, for example, you have a lot of points.
Yeah.
So how to get this? For each one, use one RAM model.
no, I obtain the value of each parameters in the 100 episode, and then I compute the distribution.
Sorry, I don't get the point. This one using the deep learning, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, reinforcement learning. You use a single model to run the response, and then you update the parameters.
No, for the training validation, I use the algorithm trained before and run 100 episode and obtaining 100 value of the
100
of the parameters and computer distribution of probability, because when I run the agent, we obtain one solution.
Okay, I see.
For one episode. And I don't know if it's the best solution. Okay, for this reason, I run the 100 episode of validation and perform a statistical study of this 100 value of each parameters.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Only to select one value of each parameters to choose a calibrated model. Only for this.
Do we have any more questions? If not, then we can thank Gianluca again for his presentation.
Thank you.
We'll stop the recording also.